Are you ready for this sickness? Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. I'm Bill, host of Economics and Comics, and I'm here with Mike and Joel Massey from GoneWithTheTwins.com. They are film critics. I am not. We are going to talk about Men in Black International. We just saw it. If you're new to the channel and you like this type of stuff, please hit that sub button, give me a like, give us some comments, and please go check out their written reviews at GoneWithTheTwins.com. Thanks so much, you guys, for taking me.
Thanks so much for having us on your show.
So, Men in Black International, what is that? Fourth?
Part 4, yeah. You know, it's interesting for people who might not have remembered this, but this is actually a comic book movie. Yeah, this is based on a comic book, yeah. Which is interesting because I think back in the earlier films, the earlier days, there wasn't science fiction wasn't so much involved. There was, comic book movies were mostly fantasy oriented stuff. So this was maybe, it's interesting now that when you get to the Avengers and Captain Marvel and everything, it's all very sci-fi based, very outer space based, and this film is as well, and yet its universe was kind of a predecessor to a lot of the very popular Marvel stuff anyway. That said, this movie wasn't very good. Unfortunately. Well, here's the thing. For me personally, I think the bar was set very, very low with parts 2 and 3. I've always liked the original Men in Black. Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones played off each other very well. So even though in Men in Black 2 they return, the humor, the villains, all of the supporting stuff, everything surrounding those two main characters was less effective. And then in part 3, you start to lose it even more. So this time around, you don't get either of those main characters. So they're trying to reinvent this franchise, and they're trying to bring younger, hipper, different sorts of characters into it. So its international setting makes almost no difference. This really is just plain old Men in Black reboot. But because, again, I didn't like parts 2 and 3, I think this one was a little bit more refreshing. Wasn't great, but it was entertaining. Yeah, for me, I thoroughly enjoyed both Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson's performances. They had decent chemistry together. It wasn't, fantastic, but it was pretty serviceable. Some good laughs here and there. I think I kind of miss that you had mentioned before, that kind of you've got the Tommy Lee Jones was the very serious straight guy, and then Will Smith was more the comedic kind of goofier character.
Old school, new school.
Yeah, and in this one they did not quite do that. They're Tessa Thompson is supposed to be a little bit more serious, and trying to be more professional, but she really kind of quickly warms up to the goofiness of Chris Hemsworth and then just kind of copies him. Well, a part of the problem too, and I'll let you jump in there too, but part of the problem is that they switch roles. Yeah. Chris Hemsworth at the beginning begins as a serious guy, right? He's a little bit more serious. He's I'm a lone wolf. He works alone, and he's arrogant and everything. And then he loosens up and becomes comic relief. Tessa Thompson kind of does that flip-flop as well. At certain points, she's the serious character. At other points, she's the comic relief. So much so that they end up having to throw in specific comedy relief characters like the little pawn guy. Yeah.
Well, that's in every movie. There's a little somebody. So, for me, I love number 1, of course, and number 2 and 3. Of course, number 1's always the best. But the chemistry with the first 2 initial characters, Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, is so good. So regardless of the movie or where they went with it, I enjoyed them all. This movie, it's lacking all the fun stuff for me. I mean, no, it was fun. Don't get me wrong, but it's appealing. We were talking about this in the car, and I don't want to go. We'll talk a little about the movie really fast, but their chemistry together, Tessa and Thor and Valkyrie, basically. Is great together, and it's like we're watching Ragnarok 2, because honestly, Chris Hemsworth, he acts like Thor in it, and
he doesn't have a lot of range.
No.
The character he plays is Chris Hemsworth.
He doesn't, but it's missing like a million different more alien characters that you're used to seeing in the first half. Like, oh my God, look at that thing! It's hilarious. They're there, but all the really, really funny stuff that you hear between the old cast to the new, it's missing, and it's kind of plain and bland and slow.
The creativity of the alien characters is almost non-existent. But you get toward the end of the movie, and you finally get an opportunity to show Rebecca Ferguson as an alien, and the best they can do is just give her 4 arms. It's like, come on,
three arms in a wig.
Yeah.
The wig, I was waiting for them to take off her hair and it'd be something really cool, but it wasn't. Anyway, So Tessa, she plays. Her parents get zapped when she's younger, and she sees it happen, and she sees a little alien, right? And so her goal is to find the Men in Black her entire life. She goes and does everything right to apply, and then she applies to FBI and all this. And there's some funny parts. She's like, I don't want to work for you. I want to work for the people, and they all think she's crazy. She eventually tracks him down, gets in there, and convinces him to give her a chance. And that's but she's very serious.
Yeah.
And not super serious, I don't think. Not like
she's never really to that level.
No, she's just trying to be as professional as she can because she wants in.
Yeah.
She wanted her whole life. And Chris Hemsworth, to me, he's like a Will Smith character. He's just kind of, he's been there long enough that he's,
he's very comfortable.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Saved the world, of course.
I enjoyed that aspect of flipping that original story, and this time instead of the candidate who doesn't really want to be part of it, now this one, Tessa Thompson, really wants to be in.
Yeah, and Chris Hemsworth, in contrast, almost seems like he doesn't really care about the job. He's just going through the motions, and he's lost his verve for trying to be part of this team. Yeah.
And what's funny though, when she's searching for them, she finally gets in. She sees some cool stuff, but compared to Will Smith seeing stuff and her seeing stuff, she's like, "Oh, okay." But when Will Smith's emerging, he's like, "Damn, what is that?" Whoa, and she's just like normal. That's okay. I was waiting for this.
I suppose
it's the non-believer versus the believer.
She
wants
because
to
she
believe,
saw an alien as a child. She believes in aliens.
So Will Smith,
everything
right. His character sees, he fights back against.
But she accepts it more.
I think to your point, part of the problem here is that all of the supporting elements not only lack creativity, they lack any kind of influence. So you've got Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth, and they get a nice rapport. They do a lot of back and forth comic relief, subtle romantic stuff. But then there's nothing else to fill in the gaps. You've got Liam Neeson, who just plays Liam Neeson. He's just kind of going through the motions. You've got Agent C.
He's IT.
Raphael Spall.
It's funny, Agent C.
Yeah, and so there's like this nerdy nemesis guy who creates kind of this office conflict sort of thing.
There's not a lot going on.
He's kind of a one-note person. They have the villains have no personalities whatsoever.
They don't even have speaking lines.
Yeah, and then you get you said Rebecca Ferguson. Yeah. Here's a villain that's on screen for all of 5 minutes, and she has no impact whatsoever. Her bodyguard has a somewhat significant role, but he also has no personality. It's just a kind of throwaway.
There was one character that I thought they gave him some of the best lines, and he got a lot of the humor in there, and that was Kumail Nanjiani playing the Pawn, who's a little CG kind of character. So.
There's like a little chessboard, and it has like the chess pieces. They go to see the queen, and they're just these little dudes, right?
Yeah, they're like little aliens.
Yeah, they're American. No, they're alien. But the one that goes with her is a pawn. His name's Pawn. He ends up wanting to be called Steve, which is a funny part, but he kind of saves the day. Like, he's like the bulldog, or not the bulldog, the
pug. Yeah.
The pug, or you do see the little aliens that are always talking, that like drink coffee and smoke cigarettes for like a second. And you see the pug too, but
yeah. Well, to his credit, I'll say that a lot of the times those kind of side characters, supporting characters that are specifically for comedy relief and basically nothing else, they tend to wear on the audience, and it gets old. But for this character, I felt like the humor succeeded enough and consistently that I didn't tire of the character. I didn't tire.
I think it was super light.
It wasn't incessant, but I mean, his character was essentially comedy relief and nothing else. He didn't really add anything to the plot, or if it had been excised from the film, it has no bearing on it.
Yeah.
Well, he does. At the end, he saves the day. Wow. He wasn't there.
But in a way, you almost wish that Tessa Thompson's character is the one who shows the fortitude and she's able to save herself and save the men, and especially because there's a lot of comedy about the men in black being men, and why is it not women in black, and that kind of thing. So in a strange way, his supporting role almost is a detriment to making Tessa Thompson the character who she's trying to prove herself,
because she needs a little sidekick.
Yeah, and then she ends up needing to be rescued at the end of the day. Yeah, but
she's pretty badass though.
In a lot of ways, yeah. I feel like in that final moment, the climax of the movie, she is unable to save herself. Yeah.
But it is a lot of the little supporting characters that I think get some of the best lines. I thought Emma Thompson, every line was hilarious, and
she gets laughs just.
She's just a good actress, yeah. But
it's they're getting worse and worse. I love the characters, but you can't ever top number one, the Men in Black number one. They're in, basically, real quick, it's, they're searching after a weapon, save the world, same stuff, but you're missing so much more than the other movies. And I want to close this, make this short, but it keeps ringing in my mind, Mike, and we were talking about this in the car, and if you want to talk about it just for a minute, I think we should. I'm going to bring it up. We were talking about China and how they have such influence on movies now. That's in everything. And when it box office starts over there where they're making millions and millions of dollars, and it comes here, and then the total combined. But they are like the biggest movie watchers in the world, correct? I mean, they spend the most money. So, I was saying,
well, not only now are a Chinese company is involved in almost, in producing almost every big movie out there.
Yeah, so they've got their hands in it, and they're such a huge market. The population's so much huger. I don't even know if that's a word. But I was saying, the movies are getting less and less. They're getting weaker and weaker. And he said, well, explain it just for a second.
Well,
so I can get the idea out there.
I mean, it's. I don't want to sound inflammatory, but in a large way, I think films in general are starting to become dumbed down because for the sake of being universal. Themes have to be universal. Conversations have to be universal. Everything has to be easily translated to the world, right? So movies are no longer being made specifically for the United States. They're being made for universal worldwide audiences. And as a result, a lot of blockbuster movies tend to lose the complexness, the intricacy of a lot of things. Dumbed down is basically.
Is this a blockbuster? Would this be a blockbuster movie?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So then this is.
I mean, it's a problem inherent in Hollywood, and that is they're so concerned with making money that that everything else gets thrown
Nobody's
away.
First concern is to make art. Their concern is to make money, and even entertainment suffers because they're not concerned about entertainment. Entertainment's almost like a secondary thing. If it makes money, who cares if it's entertaining? Who cares if it's art? Who cares if it's intelligent? That kind of thing.
And that's unfortunate for someone like me, where I enjoy seeing new things and then sparing no expense and better acting and stuff like that. I'm not saying they're bad actors, but I'm saying this movie was missing a lot of the goodies that Men in Black brought to me.
Nobody wants to take chances.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing. Yeah.
Well, if you look at each year that goes by, more and more of the films in total that come out are sequels and remakes. The number of unique properties and the number of new ideas is getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Because they don't want to take a chance.
Topped the record for having the most sequels and remakes.
I will say,
which one?
This year.
Oh.
I will say, in favor of this movie, I did not miss Will Smith or Tommy Lee Jones at all. There was enough kind of reinvention of this franchise that I didn't keep thinking to myself, oh, you know what would have made this great? Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. And it never really crossed my mind. It's okay that they're not here.
I think it would have been cool if we could have saw them for a second.
A cameo.
Little
maybe
crossover. Or,
especially because
the Reigns, Will Smith,
the
hitting
plot
the reins.
kind of spans so many years and decades.
And there are pictures of them and stuff like that on the wall, but
they acknowledge their existence. But
I guess think about that, maybe you guys, when you go to a movie and say, "Man, I would expect now it's 2019, the movie would be even bigger." But in actuality, when did Men in Black #1 come out?
It was like 97 or something.
That movie is the best there is, and it's so good. So I don't know. Take a look at movies. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of movies with these guys. I mean, we're seeing a lot. And I tell you, I'm seeing some things here that they're enlightening me on. I don't want to be like them. I want to be.
It's easy to get jaded because your perspective changes when you see 300 plus films a year. That is a lot more than. So it's no longer just for entertainment value. You're watching it to critique specifically, to analyze. So
that's their job. Yeah. But like, you can watch it real quick. You can watch a Netflix movie that's produced by Netflix, it's only on Netflix, and they're damn good. And they make you think, and they're different. Now it's like you guys said, it's about making money, and that doesn't necessarily mean the United States anymore. So you got, either way, I enjoyed the movie. It was kind of boring. It was fun, but it wasn't what I wanted, and that's what's been happening a lot. I gave it a 6 out of 10. And check out their review. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Will be another one's coming soon, probably in a couple weeks. Spider-Man, something like that. Spider-Man. So thanks again, guys, for taking me. And check them out. And we'll see you next time. Okay, guys? Have a great one. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that video, please hit that like button and subscribe now. Here's another video for your sickness entertainment. Have a great one. Bye-bye.